First of all, I'd like to thank the user, Mr. Devil, for inspiring me to make this intro and this video. So thank you, Mr. Devil, or Mrs. Devil, I don't know. This wouldn't have been possible without you. Originally, I was just gonna ignore future comments from this person, but after seeing the last comment they posted, I literally just couldn't. This is actually comedy gold. I love it. Imagine having the absolute audacity of this person to claim that the Berserk adaptation is better than Attack on Titan Season 4. He said I was trolling because I said I liked the new episode, but I'm starting to think that he has to be the one trolling, because no one in their right mind would unironically say that. But in the incredibly off chance that you're actually being serious, it's pretty clear that you've never actually watched Berserk 2016, or you're the one who's actually living in a delusion. I dare you to tell a Berserk fan that Attack on Titan Season 4 looks worse than Berserk 2016. Just imagine claiming that you have it worse than them. The amount of self-pity and entitlement this person has is 100% delusional. You could only make this statement under the guise of trolling or blind angry fanboy rage. Like, okay, I'm sorry that your favorite series of all time isn't getting a perfect adaptation, but Attack on Titan doesn't have it nearly as bad as other series. Now, I've been watching anime for a long time, literally over a decade at this point, and I've seen a lot, and I mean a lot, of failed anime adaptations. And as of right now, I don't believe Attack on Titan Season 4 is one of those. I've already mentioned Berserk 2016. It manages to be a complete train wreck in like literally almost every category. The only redeeming parts of Berserk 2016 and 2017 is that at least it's more Berserk content, and 2, some of the actual 2D art is actually not bad, and that's basically where it ends. If you want a more in-depth look of the Berserk adaptation, just watch Civit's video on it or Super Eye Patch Wolf. I think they do a great job of showing the main points of what's wrong with it, as well as demonstrating it and giving examples. So making the claim that Attack on Titan CG looks worse than Berserk 2016, and that Mappa ruined everything in this episode, is probably the worst hot take I've heard this year. I'm gonna bring up some more examples later, after I begin breaking down this person's comment into sections. At 520, it was done by a separated studio called V-Sign, you casual. So here he's referring to, I believe, when I'm talking about the CG Titans in seasons 1 through 3. Pretty sure I'm referring to the Colossal Titan, which once again did not look good, and I respond to my comment that it doesn't matter if Studio Wit themselves actually animated that CG, because regardless it still got approved and aired. Like the CG Colossal Titan in seasons 2 and 3 did not look very good, and I wanted to bring this point up because there are people who blatantly ignore this fact, but then jump onto Studio Mappa for its use of CG, which while yes is more prevalent in the series, is not as bad as people are putting it out to be. If I had to point to specific scenes in this season about CG I didn't like, I'd probably say the Beast Titan scene, as well as a couple scenes with Aaron's Titan in this episode that honestly do look a little jank, but one, like the CG Titans from seasons 1 through 3, they aren't in the scene long enough for it to be a complete eyesore. My second point, if a few seconds of CG really bothers you to the point that it ruins the entire episode, an episode that did have great moments in it, moments you could argue are even better than the manga, such as Sasha's reflection in Gabby's eyes, or the tense and quiet atmosphere as the audience stands there in just complete disbelief of what's just happened and what Aaron has done, to the absolute loud chaos that follows suit. It's moments like this that really excel when it's transferred to a medium like this. Anyway, moving on. The amount of misinformation and stupid stuff you said trying to make Wit look like the bad guy and Mappa look like the good guy is unbelievable. It's like you're one of the staff yourself. Oh sorry, one of staff yourself. Now he's talking about misinformation in my video, which I'm gonna guess is referring to the studio that animated the CG from seasons 1 through 3. Which, okay, my bad. But once again, Studio Wit's still the one who released it, and aside from that, I can't recall anything else. He's also mentioning stupid stuff, but I don't exactly know what he's talking about here, as he doesn't refer to it. As well as him claiming that I'm making Studio Wit to look like the bad guys, which in my video, you can literally hear me saying, I like Studio Wit and I enjoyed their work on Attack on Titan. I just find it hypocritical that these kinds of people are nitpicking at Studio Mappa, but then they're ignoring the hiccups that Studio Wit made. And might I remind you again, I still very much like both studios. I respond to him accordingly, and in his reply he did not bring up the fact that he insulted me, nor the fact that I corrected him saying that I do like Studio Wit. Does it gotta be the worst possible result CGI for us to not accept it? This show is all about Titans. If they used CGI on humans, no one would have minded. Well, they actually did use it on the scouts, lol. I don't know why that part is in quotes because I didn't say that in my video and I don't know who he's quoting here. In his first sentence here, I'm assuming he's saying that we shouldn't accept bad CG even if it's not the worst possible CG. Although this statement could have been written a little more clearly, it sounds a little strange. But once again, I make my point. The CG in this series is not that bad. This show is all about Titans. Honestly, I feel like this is actually a debatable statement. I feel like Attack on Titan is more than just about the Titans themselves. There are interesting characters, world building, conflicts, and thought-provoking themes of war and hatred and racism. So while yeah, in my response I do say I would have preferred 2D animated Titans, as long as the CG isn't physically painful to watch. Actually, even if it was, I don't think it'd be enough to detract from the story and its other elements, as I stated earlier. He also mentions the CG scouts, which while yes, there were CG scouts, they also existed in seasons 1 through 3. But like seasons 1 through 3, they're either not the focus of the shot, and they're far away enough that you might not even notice, and they're not in the scenes long enough for you to actually care. Literally, as I was making this video, I had to rewatch the episode to see the CG scouts again, because I had forgotten what they look like. And by that fact alone, that's a pretty good indicator that they did a good job of masking it. Even from the screenshot in season 3, the CG scouts are far away, and they're not the focus of the shot, thus making them less noticeable and more forgettable. And oh boy, I love the next thing he says. I'm not trying to harass you, but... While under the legal definition, yeah. However, I do have several comments of you calling me stupid, brain dead, a Mappa white knight, and a casual? You also implied that I had to be on drugs to enjoy the episode, which isn't even just an insult to me, but to anyone who enjoyed the episode. Because apparently, other opinions don't exist. His opinion is the only one that matters, and everyone else is just wrong. How dare you enjoy the things he doesn't like. I genuinely like that he says he hasn't harassed the staff. That's actually good. But it looks like he didn't include the people who liked this episode, because apparently they're free game. He then goes on into a long rant about the animation, while also disregarding the schedule that Studio Mappa is on, because apparently he's heard enough, and that their scheduling doesn't matter, because he's upset about their faces. So here he mentions Levi's face, saying that they made it chubby, which is definitely different from how he looks in the manga and in the previous seasons. But we've only seen his face twice in the episode, and it was just for a few seconds. It is very possible that this is just an honest animation mistake, because in the original season 4 trailer you can see that Levi's face is definitely much more slim. Alright, next is Mikasa's facial expressions. I honestly don't see the problem with it. I think they both work fine in conveying how Mikasa's feeling here. I think saying that they completely ruined her facial expression is kind of a nitpick here. And apparently something about Eren looking fat on the roof? Huh? Okay, let me check this. Okay, what the hell, that's a bit of a stretch. At most, you could maybe argue he's a little too wide, but like not fat. Plus we already know how jacked the man is from the trailers. So I think you're kind of grasping at straws for these last two ones. Because if this is your definition of fat, then I don't want to know what your definition of a healthy looking body is. Also, according to him, the entirety of season 4, they messed up every single scene. Okay, that is just beyond far-reaching. That is beyond grasping at straws. That is like literally reaching into orbit to try and grab space dust. You're really gonna make the broad claim that every single scene is messed up? Holy hell. He then goes on to bring up those 8 months of tight scheduling, which he himself was so sick and tired of hearing about, saying that Wit Studio took 8 months to produce Attack on Titan Season 2. He then also brings up the number of employees at Wit Studio, which Wit Studio is a much smaller company. But here's the problem with your statement. He didn't even bring up the fact that Season 3 Part 2 was delayed. It was originally supposed to just, keep airing back to back. And on top of that, Wit Studio wasn't working on as many long-running projects. Attack on Titan Season 3 aired on July 23rd, 2018. And I'm gonna list off everything they aired that year. 1 episode of recap from Ancient Magus Bride, which is obviously just a recap, and it aired on New Year's. Koi wa Amiagari no Yoni, which was 12 episodes. The Attack on Titan movie, which was reusing scenes from the anime. This one title I don't want to attempt to pronounce, which is not a movie. It is just a 1-hour episode special. And then we had Pokemon Movie 21, which was a collaboration, just before Season 3 could air. So you might have noticed the trend here. As a smaller studio, they couldn't afford to stretch out their team that much. They only had one other series that was 12 episodes, the rest being single episodes, some being recaps, and collaborating on a movie. Which is of course very impressive regardless of all that. But in order to air Season 3 of Attack on Titan, they would have had to have started pre-production of this much earlier, most likely right after Season 2 finished. Maybe even planning it out while Season 2 was airing. Of course that part is speculation, but it's the most likely scenario. If someone could get an interview saying when they started production of Season 3, that'd be great. But between Season 2 and Season 3 Part 1, that is a full year. And as we know, the series got delayed. It was originally supposed to air all 22 episodes, but it got delayed a full 9 months later. And it's pretty evident that they were very busy working on the series, because they literally worked on nothing big until Season 3 Part 2 came out on April 29th, 2019. Which, once again, I don't fault them, they are a small studio. However, in interviews we do know that this was only possible due to time crunch. So making the claim that it took 8 months for Season 3 Part 2 to air is just flat out wrong. 100% the production cycle definitely took place way before that. As of course they were originally planning to release all of it, the hiatus was not planned. So claiming that Studio Wit had the exact same time as Studio Mappa to animate this is just completely false. Now of course I'm gonna bring up the employees since you mentioned them, and I added up the numbers. However, before I do that, you make the claim that animation studios were not affected by the pandemic. That is such a load of bull. You can literally do a 5-second Google search to prove that wrong. You don't even need to see the specifics to know the results. All you have to do is look at Summer 2020's anime list. There were only 25 new anime airing at the time, which isn't normal. Every season before this had roughly 40 to 50 new shows coming out. So just by looking at even those numbers, you can see the effects of the pandemic. So no, your statement is wrong there. Hello, future me here. So I actually recorded all the math and stuff, explained my whole thought process on it, and then I realized it was kind of just a waste of time, because there are literally just so many other factors involved in this. Not only with just the number of shows, but also the effects of the pandemic, because it's kind of hard to factor that all in when you're doing math. There isn't really a specific number I can give it into the equation, plus all my math was based on the assumption that all employees were equal in skill, and of course the amount of hours each of them worked. But long story short, Mappa worked on a lot more series, plus many of them were also longer, and some of them just have like an insane amount of detail in them, like God of High School and Jujutsu Kaisen, which then brings into the question how I'd actually factor in the quality of each anime if I were to put it into an equation. So yeah, Mappa has more employees, thus they are working on more anime, and according to Mr. Devil's math here, that's roughly 40 employees per anime. Of course, these aren't going to be the exact numbers, but in 2020, Mappa's released 11 different series, 8 of which are at least 12 episodes, with Jujutsu Kaisen being 24, and Attack on Titan being listed as 16. And that's also not including the series that they're working on for 2021, which also includes the Yuri on Ice movie. So doing the math of 40 people, working on 5 different anime, you can see that Studio Mappa themselves is very stretched on the numbers, because once again, 11 series, plus upcoming series. So using your own excuse that they had 8 months and 200 employees is still not gonna cut it, because they themselves were also busy and working during the pandemic. I'm not trying to undermine Studio Wit's work. Considering their numbers, they can bring out series pretty fast and at pretty high quality too. But undermining Studio Mappa's work, as well as their own busy circumstances and scheduling, just because they have more employees, is an awful argument. They both work incredibly hard. More than likely, they're both going through some incredible crunch time just to get these series done. Studio Wit had to do that for Attack on Titan, and Studio Mappa is most likely doing it for all their other series coming out right now. And while I can't approve of crunch time because of how awful it is, I will appreciate the amount of effort they're all putting in. Alright, back to past me now. Anyways, on to his last statement here. So if you don't want people to harass the staff, stop lying to yourself and to your own viewers and just admit it. Episode 6 was by far the worst out of them from every aspect. Did this guy just put all the blame on me? Did he actually just do that? So he's saying that if I don't want people to harass the staff, it's my duty to tell people that the episode was bad? Excuse me? What kind of backwards logic is this? Imagine shifting all of the blame onto one person over an opinion. This is literally what he's saying to me. How dare you and your viewers like the thing I don't like? If you don't stop liking the thing you like, we will continue to harass this group and it will all be your fault. Wow. You heard it here, folks. It was all me, the person with 30 subscribers, who everyone totally knows. It is all my fault that the staff is being harassed. Definitely not the fault of the people doing the harassing. Definitely not the fault of the people being massive, entitled crybabies over this. So, Mr. or Mrs. Devil, I'd like to end this by saying thank you. Thank you for being a great example of the worst part of the Attack on Titan community. This video wouldn't have been possible without you. You've managed to prove yourself that you're a complete hypocrite, claiming that it's wrong to harass the staff, while simultaneously harassing the fans that enjoy it, telling them that it's wrong to enjoy it. Now, of course, this is your opinion, and I'm sure that this frustration you're feeling is coming from the part of you that genuinely loves the series. I doubt this video is going to make you change your opinion. Frankly, I didn't even make this video with the intention of changing your opinion. You're still free to hate the series, but trying to force your opinion onto everyone else and spreading your frustration and hatred isn't the way to go about these situations. Heck, that's literally one of the themes of Attack on Titan, ending the cycle of hatred. So if there's anything you've gotten out of this video, I hope it's that you understand that there are other opinions out there. Opinions are subjective, and not everyone's gonna agree on everything. And just because you have an opinion on something doesn't always mean you're right. Sometimes there just isn't a right or wrong. Anyways, I'm done my rant. Thank you to everyone who managed to watch this far into the video. I really appreciate it. This video took way too long to record. Next video will not be this long. Alright, see ya.